not home yet. It's fine.
That last jump inspired me to create a new supervillain.
A new supervillain.
A new supervillain.
A new supervillain. Okay.
You want to hear it?
Sure.
All right. He's called Business Card. You know when you say somebody's funny at work? Oh, that guy's a card. You're really going to like him. Yeah, I'm going over to a party at this guy's house. He's a total card.
They said that maybe in the 1950s, but go on.
Okay. They didn't have supervillains in the 1950s?
He's got moxie.
The whole thing we're doing is time travel. You're worried about being in the right decade?
More plane travel, but I got your point.
So Business Card.
Business Card. That's the name of the
That's the supervillain. He's the guy at your workplace who wears a three-piece suit, carries a briefcase, and then just makes relatively obvious yet humorous references throughout the day at your office.
So, nice weather we're having when it's raining. That kind of thing.
Or he talks about the Black Widow that he just vacuumed up. You know, whatever.
Yes.
I don't...
apropos of nothing.
When I use a vacuum, I'm always wearing a three-piece suit because I want to look classy when I'm at work.
There you go.
So Business Card. Oh, who is it? It's Business Card.
Okay.
He's a real card. He's a business card. Who is it? It's Business Card. Don't let him in.
Okay.
And that's part of the problem with a lot of these supervillains.
Does he drop in fish bowls a lot?
Huh?
Just wondering. Is he always crumpled up in the
Thank you
back?
for finally riffing with me. Jesus Christ. What has it been? 45 minutes?
I don't know. It's a business card.
Business Card.
Not the strongest supervillain.
All right. Well, you can't filter these things out. Creativity.
Forbish Man. No,
What did you say?
Forbish Man.
Forbish?
Was it Forbish Man and not Brand Deck and Marvel Comics?
Oh, yeah.
And he had a pot on his head. He wasn't on pot. Ha ha! Heyo! He wore a pot, for his head and red pajamas.
That reminds me.
Captain Forbish. Maybe it was Captain Forbish. I don't know. You were saying.
That heyo part, I want you to figure out how you can get me back in time to be on the Tonight Show reruns. I don't want to be on the Tonight Show. I want to be on the Tonight Show reruns.
Thank you very much, John Henry.
It would be...
That's some weird wild stuff. That's some weird,
that's your Carson? It sounded like Sean Connery. Was Sean Connery sitting in for Johnny Carson that show? I want to be on that episode.
I'm in Zardos. Isn't he in Zardos?
Zardos, yes.
That's a really sexy costume for a very hairy man.
He made that because he couldn't work in the United Kingdom. They were taxing him too much. So that movie, somebody said, hey, we'll give you $100,000 to make this movie. And he goes, I'll take it.
He could have just shaved his body hair and made more than enough money on making weaves for people.
Ridiculously dumb.
Anyway, you were saying.
All right. So I want you to figure out how to get me back in time.
Sure.
I'm thinking 1988, but I also want to be on that episode where it's Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds.
So a Cannonball Run sort of press.
Yes, but they were kind of a hit way before Cannonball Run. There's the episode where Burt Reynolds puts the pie to Dom DeLuise's groin.
Okay.
I think it's a callback to
American Pie?
Longest Yard.
Oh.
Where they're having the fight. Where the two convicts are having the fight.
Longest Yard. Tomato.
Anyway, so and I want Farrah Fawcett to be on that episode also. All right.
Fawcett. She was attractive.
Make it so.
Yes. Oh, didn't happen. Oh well. We tried.
All right, that's cool. Hey man, as long as you make the effort.
Sure.
Speaking of movies.
Yes. Speaking of movies.
What are your feelings on Jaws?
Jaws. Does
that mean you don't like Jaws? How could you not like Jaws?
I mean, I like Jaws fine. I mean, it's a fine film. It's watch it without the music. It's not that scary.
You can say that about just about every movie, including every one of the Star Wars movies.
Well, they're not really meant to be scary, are they?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
You imagine being cut in half by a lightsaber? That's pretty scary.
He wasn't cutting people in half for many, many years. He didn't do it in the first three. He cut people in half.
He did?
He cut people in half in Rogue One.
Ben Kenobi at the Cantina.
He cut a guy's arm off.
Okay, that's half.
What is this half of your body?
It would have been half of his body had he cut him in the half.
Weird walrus guy, that was not half his body. That was
He doesn't like you.
I don't like her either.
Sorry.
It's like, yeah.
Come, this small one is too little to worry.
You could tell that the makeup for that, they were like, let's just find what's in wardrobe.
Right, exactly.
Here, let's make him smear his eye.
Remember, the first Star Wars was made on a paltry $11 million budget, which eventually ballooned to $20 million.
11 million for that?
Yeah, well, they agreed to $11 million.
It was mostly.
Then he immediately grabbed everything, went to Tunisia, so they couldn't tell him how to spend his money. And then he had to come back. So
Tunisia doesn't really control your purse strings. They're like, film.
They're just happy.
We're just happy you're here. Aunt Beirut, that's
people,
fine.
We've got our own sand people, but if you want to bring your own, that's fine too. And if you see that, they just rock the film back and forth. That's how cheap that production was.
Yeah, made a gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was a share of it. So, Jaws. But I digress. Okay, Jaws.
First of all, did you ever read the book?
No. Why would I read a Jaws book?
Because it's awesome. It's about 3 times as long as the movie is. And
it's no Moby Dick.
But it's a modern retelling of Moby Dick.
I don't think so.
Especially the movie.
Does it have a whole chapter on hooks? No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Does it have a whole chapter on
the
woodworking of a particular a schooner or whatever? No, it doesn't. It's no.
You don't even know because you didn't even.
Okay, that's fine. Tell me about the Jaws book.
All right. In the Jaws book,
yes,
the Richard Dreyfuss character, and Chief Brody's wife have an affair.
Whoa.
They also talk about gutting some of the sharks and like.
How did he have an affair with the? He had an affair with the captain's wife.
Yes, the rich shark researcher,
Nebuchadnezzar shark worker. Yeah.
I don't know. He didn't strike me as that. He struck me as very cosmopolitan, very hip, and he's rich. That's why he can afford all that stuff.
And he slept with the dude's wife.
I don't know.
If he had slept with my wife, he'd have been chum.
Chum is no guarantee.
Here you go, shark. He just needed to eat. Now we can throw the explosive in his mouth.
Just give him the dynamite.
Here you go. Too chewy. You know, he's a little too stringy.
All right, so the movie's written.
Chewy too.
The book is written, and it goes into a lot more detail.
I want to say chewy one more time. Too chewy.
Are you trying to get a sponsorship?
Yes. Too chewy.
Special
Dreyfuss.
Rat clothes.
Special Dreyfuss flavor. It's too chewy.
All right. So now the real reason why Jaws is so good. Now we all accept that the shark is pretty cheesy, but we got to remember this is 1974.
Okay.
The Apple computer is basically a year away.
Okay.
There isn't a lot of digital, and there's no digital in movie making. So they have this shark, which is going to be a big hit. Now, originally, Spielberg is going to make a mockery, a parody of Japanese monster movies, kind of like Godzilla.
So he's doing kaiju.
He was trying to make a comedy out of Jaws. The problem is the stupid shark.
Sure?
Yes, the stupid shark wouldn't work. So what
he was trying to make a comedy. I call shenanigans.
It's absolutely true. You can look it up on any one.
He was like, I'm going for a comedy, so I'm going to have dun 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 dun. So that was supposed to be a joke.
No, it morphed into a modern retelling of Moby Dick because you see how they liked the Quint character.
Okay.
The different. He's up on the crow's nest holding his gun. It's a way. So he turns this going to be cheeseball movie into an awesome suspenseful movie, partly because of the music. But I think the music would have been funny had it been a comedy. I don't think it would have been a very good comedy, but you have to have the thing. Now all you have to do is go fast forward.
You just have the Jaws character eating Dreyfuss saying, "Look, I'm chewing him. He's a little stringy and too chewy." I don't know. I feel like saying chewy is a funny.
Where would the chief's wife be during that scene, by the way?
I guess.
Are the chief and the wife going to get back together again?
So wait, maybe she wouldn't sleep with someone if he wasn't on the boat all the time.
Well, as I remember it, they were sleeping together because he was all fixated with killing the shark. the entire town is up in.
And so she was just lonely, and she was like, I'm going to
Plus,
sleep with
he is a dynamic character. You and I don't look at Richard Dreyfuss as a sexy guy.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Right, but he's not sexy, right? He's not Goodbye
He's
Girl
not Roy
sexy.
Scheider.
He's not Goodbye Girl sexy yet.
He's not Roy Scheider. He's no Roy Scheider. I've seen Roy Scheider. I've worked with Roy Scheider. Richard Dreyfuss is no Roy Scheider. It's Scheider.
Okay, right, and he's coming up fresh off of the French Connection 2.
There's a
second one.
There was a second
and
one.
it's almost as violent as the first one.
Oh, jeez.
Same pork pie hat. I saw a guy at a party last night wearing a pork pie hat, by the way.
Oh. Did you ever, when you left, did you say goodbye, pork pie hat?
Oh, shit! Jeff Beck was at this party.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's why the coffin was there.
Jeff Beck, he was so great and got so little praise.
Are you out of your mind?
Dude.
That every time somebody mentions blues, rock, guitar, his name comes up first before anybody else.
Yeah, but they usually just
He
go,
was
yeah,
fine.
there's Jeff Beck.
He's a great guitar player.
They usually
but
mention
he's also
Stevie Ray
pretty
Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. They'll mention Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, Duane Allman every now and then. And in my opinion, quite good from the Allman Brothers.
Duane Allman?
Yeah.
He's out of tune 90% of the time. He was
great.
drunk 100% of the time.
That's great. You need to eat a peach, bud. You need to eat a
Okay,
peach.
as long as I don't eat an orange.
Yeah, I don't like orange food. So, Jaws.
You don't like Jaws. Why don't you like Jaws?
It's fine. Jaws is fine. I will reevaluate it. I'll read your Jaws book.
You should read it. It's a really good read.
I'm only
And
gonna
if you haven't read,
it.
The Godfather, read it.
Puzo?
Yeah.
Gazoo type.
The Godfather movie is two movies, part 1 and part 2. But the book is only The Godfather. So it's a really fast read too. And it makes a lot more sense. Especially that part where Michael has to go to Italy or Sicily or something.
Oh yeah.
It's confusing.
And they killed his wife there.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
They track him down. And Diane Keaton, are you kidding me? Everybody's all hot and bothered over Diane Keaton.
Annie Hall, Diane Keaton was kind of sexy. She was adorkable before they had a term like adorable.
So that was the intention.
Yeah, she was your first Manic Pixie Girl. Diane Keaton, Manic Pixie Girl OG.
I smell a business opportunity with a new Barbie type doll. Manic Pixie.
Manic Pixie Girl. Yeah, no, she was the Manic Pixie Girl. So you know what the Manic Pixie Girl is, don't you? As a trope.
Yeah, well...
the Manic Pixie Girl, let me explain this trope to you. Manic Pixie Girl is a sort of elfish-looking woman who steps into the lead protagonist's life and just turns it all topsy-turvy because she's crazy and wacky and adorkable and weird, and it makes him go through some sort of character change.
I see.
She's the magical Negro of girls. But she's not Negro. She's manic.
So you're saying
Manic Pixie Girl.
Why can't a manic pixie girl
Pixie?
be African American?
Well, they could be, but they just aren't.
Okay. Is it like an elf?
Well, pixies, yes. Pixies, elves, dryads, what other things?
Harpies?
Brownies. Harpies are a different thing.
Valkyries?
I'm not going to get into D&D with you because you just don't know it.
I'm talking comic book characters.
Well, Harpy is...
Grimm's Fairy Tales? Isn't that Harpies? Or it's...
Odysseus.
Yes, the Odyssey. Right.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. Thanks for catching up with us. No! Manic Pixie Girl...
Okay.
Manic now you know. Can you write a song about that?
Yeah.
Manic Pixie Girl,
No, it's
changing my life.
It's not going to be that's too punky. It's got to be very
So your Manic Pixie Girls are your Natalie Portmans, your
English countryside,
Zoe Deschanel,
Sherwood Forest type of manic pixie.
Yeah, they're just elfish girls that are like, oh, I'm crazy, and I'm gonna make you fall in love with me, and then I'm gonna bail.
I gotta be honest with you, I never watched Annie Hall.
You ever watched Annie Hall? I
was
have
watching
watched Jaws.
I was watching Jaws 2. And not Jaws again. I was watching Jaws 2. Jaws 2 is actually a very good movie.
Jaws 2, Electric Boogaloo. I gotcha. Yeah, great. Great film, I'm sure.
Well, Mr. Josh.
Is that the one that they do in 3D? No, that's
Jaws 3D.
Oh no, why do they always do 3D in the third movies?
I haven't been able to figure that out.
Friday the 13th, Jason in 3D, Jaws 3D in 3D. I didn't feel like that would be really scary because I'm on dry land and
I think Halloween 3 was Season of the Witch, which has nothing to do with the Halloween franchise.
That was number 2. Yeah,
is number 2 Season of the Witch?
No, 3.
You've got to pick up every stitch. Oh,
that must be the season of the witch. One of Donovan's better songs. Is it Donovan?
Donovan does have a version of it.
Who does the original?
I think it's based on an old folk song. So to say original, Donovan had a hit with it, and also I think is it Blood, Sweat and Tears? I think it was Blood, Sweat and Tears has a version of it too. But on the American Graffiti soundtrack, it's Donovan.
So okay, in my mind, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Little Feet. I get those confused.
No.
I get those confused.
No, why you shouldn't?
Why?
Well, because Little Feet is basically one guy.
Okay.
And Blood, Sweat, and Tears is basically...
That's very Little Feet then.
Well, it's at least
single
it's
feet.
2 feet.
Yeah, it's 2 feet.
Little Feet is Lowell George, one of the great guitar players of all
Laughing
time.
Out Loud George?
No.
Lowell George, did you say? Oh, Lowell. Lowell George, gotcha. Sorry, I digress.
Lowell George, who was a prodigy of Frank Zappa.
Oh, okay. Well, I like Zappa.
Lowell George was his first commercial job was. Do you remember the Standells? I love that dirty water.
Yeah, that song.
They're from Boston. They're singing a song.
Boston.
They're singing a song about the River Charles. Well, by the time that their career had spanned from Boston,
is that a notoriously dirty bit of water?
Yeah, it's in a highly commercial area. It's Boston, so it would be like the River Thames, but yeah.
I mean, it's small. I mean, well, it's big, but it's small. Boston.
Right. The point is, well, there's a lot of people there.
So I don't get why it's dirty water.
It's dirty water because they're dumping all their commercial waste into the river.
So is he being ironic? Is he being sarcastic?
I think he's being very accurate.
But he loves the dirty water then?
Well, it's his hometown.
I don't love dirty water just because it's from my hometown.
Yeah, but if you had a choice between
dirty
two
water.
waters and one of them was from your hometown, you'd probably take that one.
I don't think so.
The point is that Lowell George joined in the later...
I don't think that's how that works. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to take this clean water. I want Gerardia from my hometown.
Okay, really, if you have dirty water, just check your pipes because they're probably rusting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless you live in Detroit.
Hey-oh. Okay, he loves the dirty water, Standells, you were saying.
And then as they traveled across the country, members of the Standells would leave the band because they weren't making any money.
So they weren't standing around. The Standells.
Oh, wow.
They were
Man, you're blowing my mind.
They're Leave-ells.
The Run-ells.
Run-ells.
The Splitting L's. So
Splitting Manic Pixie
but not
Elves.
the Call-ells or the Jor-ells.
So
by the time they got to California, they needed somebody to play the guitar for them. Lowell George goes, "Hey, I'll do it."
Yeah.
Then
Laughing Out Loud George. He's gonna be the ringer.
Laughing out. The guy was 300 pounds when he died. He was a cocaine addict. He was overweight. He died of a heart attack.
So he was like the guy, the manager of Led Zeppelin. That guy was huge. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, but the guy who managed Led Zeppelin ironically had no talent whatsoever. That's how they got.
He had talent and like he was like the first Suge Knight, bud.
Yeah,
he was like
his talent was for
sure. He was for sure beating people up in a derby. You know how hard it is to be taken seriously in a derby?
Yeah, I was at a party.
Peter Grant. That's his name. Peter Grant. Taken seriously as a
and they would get paid $50,000. You know that very famous show in Seattle with the Mudfish episode?
I wasn't there.
You missed it, man. It was crazy. It was like Fatty Arbuckle type of sex.
Oh, we're just touching all of the overweight evil men in this conversation. Okay, we've got Peter
but
Grant.
In Fatty Arbuckle's defense, he was exonerated.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then he died shortly after that. He was having a career recovery, and the next thing.
Yeah, because I think he got railroaded.
Yeah, they were looking for a scapegoat.
Yeah, well, you know.
Anyway,
so going back, Peter Grant, or are we on Peter Grant?
Yeah, we're talking about Peter Grant.
Peter Grant, manager of Led Zeppelin,
and they get paid $50,000 in cash before they hit the stage.
And he was roughing people up in a derby, like you were saying, getting $50,000 cash.
Well,
$50,000
he would only rough. In fairness, he would only rough him up if they weren't ready to pay him. They were Led Zeppelin, for God's sakes.
Yeah, well, I think they were getting paid
after they become the new Yardbirds.
That's fine. We'll go over like a lead balloon, said Keith Moon.
That's right.
I know that story.
Keith
Moon was great.
Yeah, and there's a guy who's trying to beat his demons, ends up dying anyway because of his medication.
That's how he died?
Yeah, it's really sad because we picture him driving his car into a swimming pool, right?
And saying park it. Yeah, right.
Trying to kill himself. Then when he's trying to sober up, he dies. That's kind of what makes it sad.
That is sad. I like that. The Who is great. My British invasion.
I feel the same way about the
tier.
Who as you feel about the Eagles.
You don't like the.
Now wait, I'll give them their due. I consider the Who to be the first punk band.
Yes, they are. And Who's Next is a almost perfect record.
Okay, what does that have on it? It's got all the big hits, right?
It's got Bob O'Reilly.
Yeah, that song is awesome. Because it's
preaching to the choir there.
Because Bob O'Reilly is not mentioned in that song at all, as far as I can tell.
No, it was about his guru, which was Baba.
Isn't Bob O'Reilly
something? And Riley was a different thing. How does that? Mayor Baba was his guru when everybody had a guru, because you couldn't be cool as a baby boomer without a guru.
Yeah, but the chorus of Baba O'Reilly is something.
Teenage Wasteland.
Teenage Wasteland.
Yeah.
That's what's punk about that. Don't call it Teenage Wasteland. Call it Baba O'Reilly. And everybody will be confused because you'll go into the Sound Warehouse and go, hey, I want that new hit song by The Who.
Teenage Wasteland. And then the snobby record store employee, Ben one, you go, you mean Baba O'Reilly off of Who's Next?
Well,
they are the first punk band, though.
Does The Who have a greatest hits album? Because that's all I really want to get. I just want the hits.
Yeah, that has Substitute on it. Substitute you for me, mum. Yeah. Remember when Christine was sick? She was singing that. Anyway, yeah, that checks out. But you don't like The Who that much.
At one point, they were being rammed down my throat.
Boris the Spider. Every time I call every spider I see Boris. I go, oh look, there's a Boris, and it's a spider. You don't do that?
No, I call them.
When vacuuming up your Black Widow, you're not calling it Boris?
When I vacuumed up the Black Widow, I said, hey, Natasha.
Well, yeah, because it is a female.
Right.
The scary ones anyway are. Like many things in nature.
Well, actually, the Black Widow is not
true.
that
I mean,
scary.
that's not sexist, bud. Like, the female lions, they're the ones doing really the heavy lifting.
Exactly.
The female, I think hyenas are hermaphroditic. I think they both have penises, the males and the females.
Yeah, and we all know why they're laughing.
Yeah, that probably would be why. So, yes, let's see. I mean, female frogs are huge. I don't think female gorillas are. I think when you get to the primates, then the males are bigger than the females. But in general, in terms of attacking, you have to worry. A female bear is going to mess you up with cubs.
Right. And she has to do that, otherwise the species does not proliferate.
See?
Because the male bear
is a lazy sod.
Well, he wants to make sweet, sweet sex. So the mama bear won't do it.
That's what they call it.
I was on Kodiak Island a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. And then that's what the bear said to you.
There's a couple of bears
I'm going to make you too.
Look, I'm walking through the brush and two bears are going at it. What are you going to do? Of course you're going to watch.
Maybe. Do you? I feel like...
No, you get out of there before they maul you to death.
You think they would stop pre-coitus?
Well, they're not
to
humans.
attack
They're not
you?
going to go 45 minutes to an hour. Have you heard these? Have you heard these Viagra ads on the sports?
You're not
channel?
going 45 minutes, bud.
I'm not. But the irony thing
You're
is
going
that,
bare length. 10 minutes tops.
You're going to the doctor because your wife wants to have more sex. So you get the pills and you're going, okay, baby, let's go for an hour or longer. And they're going, I don't want you to go for an hour. Are you out of your mind? You're going to rip my insides out.
Yikes.
I want you to go for about 7 or 8 minutes. You think you can handle that?
That's 6 minutes too long. That's 6 minutes too long. No. So I think it's very weird sexism, and the idea that like the females of the species are the most dangerous is
well, they're protecting their young, and that's actually
and then
that's a function of
it's
evolution.
like
Well, the male is protecting everything, but the male also has to go out and make sure that.
Have you seen male lions? They pretty much sleep most of the time.
Okay,
and
but
they
the reason
like
why
occasionally try to take out a giraffe when the rest
because of their esophagus size, they have a bigger roar than the female lion does.
So to say, I'm here.
Exactly. If you're a dumb animal with the brain the size of a baseball, and you hear that sound, you are going to go the opposite direction.
I think I'm a pretty smart animal, and I would go in the opposite.
Okay, have you ever seen the size of an elephant brain? It's tiny.
Is it tiny?
Yes.
I think you're wrong. I think they're pretty smart. I think elephants, they even...
I'm not saying they're not smart. I'm saying...
Well, size doesn't matter when it comes to intelligence. I think is what I'm saying. Size doesn't matter for intelligence.
It does in the size of a brain. The Tyrannosaurus Rex had a brain the size of a walnut.
And sounded like a duck.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Oh, that's baloney.
No, they say it sounded like a duck.
How do they know that?
Because they recreated through artificial intelligence its voice box, and the only sounds that could be produced were whack, 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 whack. So it changes the whole thing about.
Are you telling me that Land of the Lost lied to me?
Yes, as did Jurassic Park. If that thing sounded like a duck, everyone would have laughed. There wouldn't have been a Jurassic Park. What are they on? 7 now?
Well, that kind of makes sense because if you don't have to make that loud sound, you could sneak up on your prey. You got to sneak up on an ankylosaurus anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, you're quacking though.
No, you're not quacking.
I think
You're only quacking after you step on the stegosaurus and beat your chest, but you can't because you're a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You're not King Kong.
You know, when we talk about dinosaurs, I feel like I'm 6. I mean, doesn't every boy go through like a dinosaur phase?
Yes.
It's like
I'm
Stegosaurus, the Triceratops. What was the one that had the plates and the big spiky tail?
The Ankylosaurus.
See, look, you're almost 7.
Tell me the difference between a brontosaurus and a brachiosaurus.
I think the brontosaurus was the biggest and a plant eater. The brachiosaurus, I think it had a duck bill, didn't it?
It had a breathing hole. In
Oh, or
it
had the little...
And it was bigger than the brontosaurus.
Oh, there you go. So why is it that young boys like dinosaurs and young women like horses? Is there some kind of correlation there? Like, is it because we want to be terrifying, or we think of something as being big and...
Okay. I've solved it in the 30 seconds I was thinking about it.
Okay. Lay it on me.
The female is the life giver. They are naturally more drawn to nicer animals.
Do you think the horse is a nicer animal?
The horse is a very nice animal. Name me 10 animals in the wild that you can feed out of your hand and they don't bite it off. The horse. That's
Not
it.
wild horses, which they can drag you away. Wild horses.
No, they couldn't.
Actually, you're right. They couldn't drag you away. Wild horses couldn't drag you away.
They couldn't drag me away, and they couldn't drag Reginald White away.
And they couldn't drag Mick away from Marianne Faithfull.
Yes, they could.
Only Keith could. So wait. So you're saying that aesthetically, women were drawn to horses when they're prepubescent, and men are drawn to dinosaurs when they're prepubescent because we like ugly things?
We like aggressive things. We are training ourselves to be adult, aggressive protectors.
And so we want to be very inhibited, arm-wise, Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Well, look.
I mean, they have big mouths, but they're not doing a whole lot of the arm.
6 rows of 6-inch teeth. Are you really going to give a shit whether or not your hands work or not? All your work is being done by your mouth anyway.
Well, you know, I suppose that's there's a joke there somewhere, but I can't think of it. Okay, yeah, all right. So we want to be more aggressive, and that's why. But the brontosaurus isn't particularly aggressive.
It's gigantic, though. It's big, which by its very nature is aggressive.
Because it seems like we go from liking dinosaurs to then kaiju movies of Godzilla and all that stuff. And
who's this we? That new Godzilla that's coming out looks really dumb. And all of the Godzillas, I like the Matthew Broderick one. Do you like that one?
No!
Yeah.
The newest, those Godzillas where he fought King Kong, those were pretty cool.
Yeah, well, there's a new one of those where they look like the new Godzilla. But I know, so the guy in the rubber suit with all of the stuff on his back,
yes,
and with basically a full-formed head, as opposed to his head being just kind of drawn out from all the plates in the back. I like the original Godzilla.
You like rubber suit Godzilla?
Well, I like the aesthetic of that as opposed to it being more.
Did you see that first Godzilla that they did where he friggin' flamed into that creature's mouth? That was great. That was because there was a Godzilla, then there was something else Godzilla, and then there was King Kong. They're like a trilogy. The Godzilla,
Well, there's Godzilla, Godzilla versus King Kong, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla.
No, it was like Godzilla King of Monsters or something.
Okay, all
when
right.
King Ghidorah or whatever.
Yeah.
Ghidorah, right? I'm trying to remember it. I think, yeah, and Rodan.
Right.
Come on, bud.
And now
those were great.
they were brought in or were taken up to Planet X.
Mothra? Come on, bud. You don't like Mothra?
I do. In fact, we had a turtle when I was in college.
Named Mothra?
No, we called it Terp. No, we
Maryland.
we had a turtle in college that it was a Japanese turtle, so we named it Gamera.
Oh, cool. Gamera.
And then
Gamera was a little too
my roommate
cute.
wasn't as into science fiction as I was, so we ended up changing his name to Ted.
So it was Gamera and you changed it to Ted.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a downgrade.
You don't have to tell me that.
That poor turtle was like,
I was drawing pictures, getting ready to put it on the aquarium. And then we had to get rid of it because we're like, well, who's going to take it home over Christmas break?
Someone from Maryland.
Yeah, and we came back. Hey, where's Ted / Gamera? And they went, he was delicious.
Oh no! Now you just broke my heart a little bit. Although I hear turtle soup was probably good, but I love turtles and I would never eat them.
Ugh, they sound disgusting. It's like Jell-O.
Yeah, fair. Oh well, Jaws.